Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get into this game. I know you've been waiting for a very long time. FXO LoWeLy going up against EG's ThorZaIN. Map number 1's going to be Ohana. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in. The first map is Ohana, and we are playing with incredible talent here at the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Europe Continental Finals. Spawning over here in the bottom right position as the red Zerg, taking down his opponent narrowly 2-1 in the first round. What can he do against this giant of esports? He is FXO LoWeLy. He will be going up against the blue Terran in the top left-hand corner. The Spoon Terran himself, recently acquired by Team Evil Geniuses. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ThorZaIN. So, thank you so much for holding out and waiting, guys. I'm sure it's going to be worth it. ThorZaIN, of course, had his previous match casted on stage, so he therefore had to move all of his stuff from stage 2, where he was going to be playing down in the regular tournament seating area. And that meant we just had a delay. But actually, that was pretty quick, because we were expecting a delay of about half an hour, and it turned out to be about 15 minutes. So thank you to all of you who hung tight and stayed with me, because it's now all about to pay off. Don't forget, of course, if you know any ThorZaIN fans, tweet your friends, let people know that this is where to catch his game against LoWeLy right now. All of these matches are best of 3s, but there is a double elimination factor going for it, because we have a lower bracket, and once we get to the grand finals, the lower bracket player will have to win 2 best of 3s against the upper bracket player to be crowned champion here. LoWeLy being ever so slightly annoying to the SE building that barracks there, but won't be annoying too much longer. And in the meantime, ThorZaIN going to be sending out a worker scout of his own. Spawning pool going down now after the hatchery for LoWeLy. Nothing too out of the ordinary so far. In our first ZVT of the day here on stream, JoRoSaR. And Barracks possibly going to be landing there for an add-on. Or did he just want to float it a little bit further outwards just for fun there? We'll find out in just a moment. Notice this is very typical of ThorZaIN. It's almost like he's the Terran equivalent of what Sase does. He had 2 workers on that refinery all the way up until I clicked on the bloody thing, and then he put 3 in just to make me look silly. But he does actually have he has a style where he is known for the exact amount of gas he wants, and sometimes he takes 2 gases and puts exactly 2 workers in it if that's what he fancies. But for now, he's going to be going for a 1-racks expand, walling off with 2 depots and a command center, something we don't see quite as often as we used to there, as the factory comes down as well. Now, this is particularly important to note, because sometimes when we go 1-racks expand, we see barracks number 2 and 3 come down, but in this particular case, we're seeing a factory, and that's because a reactor is going to go down here, and we're going to see some Hellions come out of the Spoon Terran here on Ohana. In the meantime, though, what's going on in our Zerg's base? Let's take another look. He's already got his 1 gas. He is getting up to about 60 gas at the moment, so no doubt he'll be going for Metabolic Boost, unless he's going for some crazy early Roach or Baneling shenanigans, but Metabolic Boost probably what he's going for. Spine Crawler going up at the front just to try and prevent any early harassment, if possible. And I love that this creep room is placed here, wants to make sure that this area of his screen is completely covered in creep, so that he is able to reinforce with additional queens and zerglings a little faster if necessary. So a Metabolic Boost now starting for him, as we see, ladies and gentlemen, a 3rd command center going down here for ThorZaIN. So it looks like he's going to be going for a little bit of an economic build. He is actually going straight in for the starport as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a tech lab on that for Banshees later on. There's a tech lab going down on the barracks. I wonder if it's going to float afterwards. And he's getting that 2nd gas now as well. Very, very precise in his builds is a ThorZaIN. As we now have the factory already with the reactor on it, we can see that the orbital command is getting planted down on the low ground. And very shortly indeed we'll have a couple of Hellions terrorizing the front of LoWeLy's base, who does not yet know that ThorZaIN has gone for a very quick 3rd command center. And it looks like Yes, we are going to see this barracks get lifted off. In fact, he cancelled the Marauder as well. He started the Marauder and then cancelled it to put the Tech Lab down. Not because he heard what I was saying to him, but feels pretty good when that happens anyway. We're going to be seeing a Banshee, ladies and gentlemen, pop out of this starport, and more Hellions on the way. So Hellion Banshee opening after out of an early expansion from ThorZaIN here on Ohana. In the meantime, we have a good Overlord spread here from LoWeLy, just wanting to make sure that there are no potential drops that he won't be able to see, so that's great. Just going to be chilling on the edge of this creep with the Hellions there, so that if LoWeLy tries to expand his creep onto the bottom of the ramp, he would not be able to do so. If this Spine Crawler uproots and then moves down to the bottom of the ramp, then that gives these Hellions enough time to come in and potentially get some drone barbecue. So LoWeLy needs to be very, very careful at this point, as his lair is about to complete. Spore Crawler going down in the mineral line as well. Did he see? He hasn't seen the starport, but I think he's spooked by something or other. And we're going to be seeing a little bit of damage pop out very shortly indeed. The Banshee's actually going straight across the middle of the map for ThorZaIN. So he's not trying to sneak it around the edges of the map or anything like that, and that's probably a good idea because these Overlords are here. But now we're going to be seeing potentially a bit of a push onto creep. We have a couple of Zerglings, just a few noticeable Banelings here, and we've got an Infestation Pit about 2/3 of the way down now for our Zerg player. This potentially could get a little bit crazy. No, the Banshee able to get away. No kills, though, actually. LoWeLy completely prepared for that with those 3 queens of his. Apparently, I'm getting reports that my game sounds might be a little bit high compared to everything else. So let's delete... Oh, let's just move that down a little bit as we go back into the action. Looks like the Hellions are moving away from the front of the base, and who can blame them, to be perfectly honest? I mean, the queens there were just able to boss them up entirely, and that means we're going to get this lovely creep spread down on the low ground for LoWeLy. Good positioning here of this creep tumor, able to get this down on the left-hand side as well. He'll be able to spread his creep back out into the middle of the map shortly, as ThorZaIN poises to take his third. There was an Overlord there spewing a bit of gunk on the ground, as you can see, so LoWeLy knows the timing of this as well, and he's going to feel pretty safe to grab his hatchery of his own. In the meantime, siege tanks appear now to be out for ThorZaIN. One of them is hitting away at the back rocks, and the other one just sort of has given up in confusion, if you like, while SCV's continuing to long-distance mine from the third until the creep disappears and he can land that command center. A lot of barracks going down right now. That's a reactor, that's a reactor, that's a reactor, and that's a reactor, which means ThorZaIN is going to be going into Marine good unit mode, for lack of a better phrase. He started stim, now he's got the reactor down on the medevac, so he will be able to get those medevacs popping out 2 at a time, and he's going to be able to put so many Marines in production at once. Double engineering bay with the armory already complete means he can start 2-2 when he has the resources to do so as well. And there are just so many excellent ways here for ThorZaIN to keep his money low with this bio kind of composition that he's going into. It's going to be a little bit difficult for LoWeLy. I like this missile turret out in the middle of the map, just wanting to make sure that no burrowed units sneak by him. That's obviously one of the worst things that can happen to tanks. You have burrowed roaches sneak up on them, then they unburrow on top, and your tanks go bye-bye, baby. You do not want that to happen here. And ThorZaIN looking to really seriously wall off this third base and prevent any sort of harassment coming out from LoWeLy whatsoever. There's a reason they call him the Spoon Terran, incredibly difficult to harass, and will kill you oh so slowly. It's like being hacked to death with a spoon. And that's what ThorZaIN is particularly known for. But LoWeLy, it has to be said, doing a great job fanning his creep spread out, now in the center of the map, reaching that first watchtower as well. And we do see that back in his main base, he is actually already going for a hive. He's got the macro hatch down, the infestation pit is down, pathogen glands is complete, the spire is going down at his natural expansion as well, and he's feeling comfortable enough that he's grabbing his 4th base. So ThorZaIN's map vision isn't actually that much at the moment. He's only seen the 4th base through this Banshee, but other than that, hasn't been able to do very much right this minute. He's up 140 supply to 133 as it currently stands, so we're just going to be going into a fairly standard TVZ middle game here with the worker supply at 80 versus 68 in LoWeLy's favor, but of course those mules are going to help ThorZaIN back into contention quite a bit. They're mining approximately the same amount. Water, refreshing stuff. Alright, we've got ThorZaIN now completely walling off his third base with supply depots. I'm guessing that's not a gap there. because these Marines can't actually get out. If they could, the AI would probably prompt them to move over there. We have got an Overlord here for LoWeLy still, waiting to be morphed into an Overseer that ThorZaIN does not see, and he might be able to come in and scout all of the tech structures that ThorZaIN has, because as it currently stands, he knows that there's a barracks here, so it'd be very useful to see the rest of the stuff pop out as well. ThorZaIN just pumping out this Marine tank style like there's no tomorrow. These upgrades going very strong, 2-2 about to finish for him as well, so it looks like he might be launching a massive 2-2 timing here, and that burrowed Zergling sees absolutely everything popping out, and the tanks are now sieging up. What's LoWeLy going to do about it? He does actually back off a couple of them to get in, and one of the tanks actually goes down due to splash damage. A little bit sloppy there from ThorZaIN, and here we go, scenes from StarCraft Master, as we have Infestors just moving out, trying to pick apart these tanks before they actually get anywhere. But ThorZaIN looking like he is meaning serious business when he gets into this fourth base location. Excellent scan, picking off 2 of the Infestors, but we have a Ling surround on some of those Marines. They're getting into tank territory now, though. They don't really want to be doing that at the moment, as LoWeLy is forced back at 152 supply to 174 for ThorZaIN. Nice Marine spread here. The Fungal only able to get up about 5, and the Queen going down as well. Oh no, and that Infestor getting taken out too. This 2-2 timing from ThorZaIN is looking pretty lethal against the fourth base. What is LoWeLy going to be able to do? He is just rallying Lings in at the moment, but the siege tanks on the low ground might be able to say something about that. Excellent Fungal growth on the medevacs. This is what LoWeLy needs. He needs to chain Fungal those and kill off all the medevacs to make the Marines think twice about coming in. He needs one more Fungal after this. Does he have one? Yes, he does. Okay, that's really good news for LoWeLy. 4 medevacs down. That is a beautiful pick off for him, but is it going to be enough? The tanks are slowly moving forward now. One on the high ground getting immediately taken out, but ThorZaIN just spreading his Marines so unbelievably well here. LoWeLy is going to lose his 4th hatchery now. There's just no way he can compete with how well ThorZaIN is spreading his Marines, just making those Infestors use all of their energy no matter what. And behind this, ThorZaIN is getting a planetary fortress at his own 4th as well. Very slow, very deliberate, very deadly. ThorZaIN really showing us what he's made of, but that's because LoWeLy has been buying time for his Broodlords that have just popped out. ThorZaIN trying to decide if he can stim in with these, deciding he cannot. And there are actually 2 Vikings out here right now. Do we have additional Corruptors? We don't. We only have Infestors. And oh my goodness, 1 Broodlord going down already, and it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to deter ThorZaIN. These Vikings able to do a tremendous job here. Absolutely undeterred in the air, and oh no, a 2nd Broodlord goes down now. 2 Broodlords with 2 Vikings is a pretty darn good trade if you ask me, and there just weren't any Corruptors in the back for LoWeLy. He was rushing to those Broodlords so quickly that he just wasn't able to keep up with it. He's got Flyer Carapace and Adrenal Glands coming in as well, in addition to other upgrades, but his expansion on the right-hand side has also just been denied by ThorZaIN, who is now very, very safely on 4 bases. LoWeLy, though, is by no means out of this game. He still has really good control of this half of the map. ThorZaIN has just been really frustrating him absolutely everywhere he goes, and these Broodlords are getting hacked apart by these Vikings. I mean, so many Broodlord kills on just 2 Vikings, 2 at least, and I think a 3rd one went down as well. That has to be a fantastic win for him. LoWeLy sacrificing some lanes there, trying to get a couple of siege tanks picked off, but only a single one. Not exactly mission accomplished just yet. He's now down to 145 supply against the 181 of ThorZaIN. In the meantime, we have 3 Thors on the way, so ThorZaIN is now transitioning into a mech composition here. We have got all these barracks ready just in case, but we have factories with tech labs littered all over the place. He's making Thors 3 at a time, so true to his word, ThorZaIN is going to be pushing out with a more mech-style composition into the late game here. And with LoWeLy already down in supply. Oh, and these Marines, seeing everything, knows where all of the Infestors are as well. ThorZaIN's going to be feeling pretty comfortable, knowing exactly where his enemies decided to set up camp. Good decision to borrow that Zergling there, seeing everything that's going on as well. Actually sees that medevac, but I'm not sure if he recognizes that as a drop just yet. The medevac is potentially going to... No, he's actually just going to hang around there until it's repaired, but if it goes past this Overlord, LoWeLy should know that a drop is incoming too. ThorZaIN just hanging back on his half of the map, going to be chilling out at the Xel'Naga Tower as it currently stands, and the drop is now on its way. Will this Overlord see it? It will not actually. ThorZaIN just carving a hole straight through those Overlords there. Really, really good job. And now with this creep spread, he sees it. Even dropping a Marine. Oh, wow. Dropping a Marine to kill off that creep tumor and moving back as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of micro that makes ThorZaIN the world-class player that he is. But LoWeLy now going to be popping up with a lot of units here. And we have got a couple of Queens here to clean it up as well. ThorZaIN going to try and escape with everything. But 1 Marine sadly does fall. And we have a team of Corruptors which will destroy the rest of them. Only 2 Marines able to get out of there alive. And a couple of Lings going to try and pop in here to finish the job. ThorZaIN, in the meantime, going to be securing his left-hand side base where there is a burrow Zergling. So we're forcing a scan out of him there before he drops his 5th command center as well. LoWeLy now mining happily again from this left-hand side base and getting ready potentially for an attack at the 3rd. We have 3-3 upgrades and adrenal glands already, so cracklings are on the field for LoWeLy. 3-3 upgrades as well for ThorZaIN, and he's actually got +2 attack on his mech as well, so that could potentially be huge. Lings now coming in towards the planetary fortress. Is he going to decide to engage? Yes, he is. A lot of banelings there as well. ThorZaIN will not want to be trying to repair this when those banelings go off. Oh my goodness, run away. One more baneling hit gets so many of those SCVs. They are all at 1 hit point out of 45, and they're trapped against the supply depots. Boom! There go all of those SCVs. ThorZaIN has got a decent siege up near the 4th base here, but potential access to the 3rd base is waiting here for LoWeLy. There we go, there's a hole in the wall. He's not actually moving in just yet, though. I think it would be better if he moved in with a couple of those Lings. That mineral line is looking extra juicy. This 4th base has been destroyed from LoWeLy right now, and he has the perfect opportunity to take apart these SCVs, but it looks like he's just going to be fighting Marines instead, which saddens me ever so slightly, because I think he had an opportunity to get another 10 worker kills there. And now ThorZaIN is moving in against the 4th base of LoWeLy. So many Vikings out on the field right now, but a lot of infestors and a lot of fungal growths. This is basically an even trade right now, but how many Broodlords are left out on the field? 0 is the answer. ThorZaIN possibly overproducing Vikings a little bit. There's no Broodlords left, and LoWeLy's going to try and hold on to this 4th base. Another very good there, actually. ThorZaIN already thinking about rebuilding those supply depots, but we need to think about another attack against this 3rd base here from LoWeLy if he wants to continue the pressure on ThorZaIN, because it's now his turn to provide aggression against the 4th base here. We have got the 5th base once again being taken at the right-hand side location for LoWeLy, and but ThorZaIN just has such a good siege position. We really need to see, okay, there we go, more Broodlords now out on the field for LoWeLy, and the Ultralisk Cavern is on its way as well, which is always good news. Let's see if he can use those Ultras to try and soak up enough damage from the tanks to get some DPS done on them. We've got a Raven now out from ThorZaIN. Will be able to detect any creep tumors. That's going to make, oh dear, that's going to make life exceedingly difficult. What on earth was he doing with those queens? LoWeLy just a little bit micro again. Needs to be very, very careful. Here come some of the Broodlords against attack, but look at this, the Vikings already out. Transfuse. No transfuse goes down on the Broodlords. No transfuse goes down on the 2nd Broodlord, and LoWeLy is falling apart just a little bit here. 3 Banshees coming in to join the fray as well, and all of a sudden ThorZaIN is looking like he's in a pretty good position here. More Lings against this wall of supply depots, but actually it's already down. He can just move straight into the mineral line. He needs to focus his multitasking just a little bit more there, realizing he can go in. LoWeLy is giving ThorZaIN time to react here by not going straight in, but he is now inside. A lot of those Marines taking a decent amount of damage before going down, and now finally the 3rd base is being picked apart from LoWeLy. In the meantime, the 4th base is now under siege by a whole bunch of tanks, and a lot of Zerglings just getting donated there. Bad rally point there from LoWeLy, who looks like he wants to go for a counterattack here. He has a lot of Lings now, and he's moving up towards the production structure. The starports here could potentially be very, very useful for him indeed. Even landing a Viking trying to defend against this for ThorZaIN, going to have a very difficult time defending his natural. The 4th base here is still alive, actually, from LoWeLy, so this slow push from ThorZaIN is taking a very, very long time indeed. LoWeLy is simply wanting to destroy the tanks. He just wants to get the tanks destroyed and then leave the rest to chance, effectively, as he slowly whittles away ThorZaIN here in the main base. The Viking does go down, and there are enough Marines here to suppress this attack, but more Lings are now moving into the natural expansion. I'd love to see LoWeLy just move this straight into the natural itself, and it looks like he's going to be doing just that after he takes apart this barracks. So that should be good news for him. Great positioning on the ramp there from ThorZaIN. Is he going to be able to get us around? It looks like LoWeLy's not actually going to try, and the 4th base finally goes down here for LoWeLy as ThorZaIN continues to push his way in, possibly to the 3rd base location next. But LoWeLy does have a decent number of Lings, and ThorZaIN is down to 112 supply versus the 190 of LoWeLy. He's only got this as the fully mining base that isn't his main or his natural at the moment. He is mining more due to mules, but LoWeLy just has more bases at his disposal. 3 compared to the... well, actually, there's 3 as well here, because this base was taken out, but ThorZaIN is basically remaking everything. A lot of his production structures are flying as well, so that potentially could be a problem. Let's wait and see what ends up happening here. We have actually got LoWeLy with some Ultras now in the mix, trying to pick apart this planetary fortress on the left-hand side. ThorZaIN coming in with Vikings. That's not going to do very much damage at all. Great friendly work going off on those Vikings and the Raven as well. Submarines kiting back these Ultras. Great job of that. LoWeLy really wants to make sure that he can fungal those Marines so that they can't actually kite the Ultras. Hopefully that happens. Oh my goodness, that bio is so fungalable to use a StarCraftism there. ThorZaIN now no longer has any grip on LoWeLy's position. Yes, he's destroyed this hatchery, but that's about it. He hasn't moved into the third base, and he's actually finding himself in a very defensive position right now as he goes up into 64 supply versus 179, so perhaps his attack wasn't quite fast enough. The Spoon Terran living up to his name, but just not enough speed on this particular occasion as the Ultra is now going to be moving in towards the third base location. 175 supply versus 63. Could ThorZaIN be going down in the first game of this best of 3 here? GG, well played! Ladies and gentlemen, FXO LoWeLy takes a victory off of ThorZaIN. He takes game number 1 in the best of 3 series on Ohana, which means ThorZaIN is now 1 game away from being knocked into the lower bracket. LoWeLy, incredible play from him there to keep up in the middle game. ThorZaIN had a fantastic sort of surround on his 4th base in the middle of that game there, and then he was just able to come back and rally and continuously deny that 3rd and 4th base from ThorZaIN with the use of those Ling run buys. Really nice play there from LoWeLy, and that's earned him a victory over the Spoon Terran. We'll be getting right into game number 2 after a quick break. Don't go anywhere.